One single social media post can make all the difference when we are promoting our beautiful children's book. So in this video, we are going to look at someone's successful post for their children's book and look at what it was that made this post so successful, so we can learn from it and hopefully apply it when we are sharing our own book. Hi there, I'm Eevi, an award-winning children's author and ghostwriter over on eevijones.com and the creator of Children's Book University. I create videos specifically for children's authors, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my weekly videos. I have created a whole series on how we as children's authors can use social media to help us spread the word about our book. I made sure to share the links to those videos in the description below. In this video, we are going to look at Keon and his beautiful and newly published book, Sunshine from Scratch, because he created such a perfect example of how powerful social media truly can be when done right. Keon's story is such a beautiful one. When Kai, the main character, is given a recipe to create sunshine from scratch, he recognizes that the world around him is dark and sometimes sad, but when he mixes it all together, it doesn't work. There's an ingredient missing, and that's when Kai realizes that it's up to him to go on an adventure to find out what the missing ingredient is to create sunshine from scratch. Such a beautiful story. Keon made a video of himself introducing himself and his new book while holding it in his hands. The video is about 1.5 minutes long and has already gotten so much wonderful attention. Keon shared his video over on Instagram about a week ago, and it has already had over 25,000 views, over 800 likes, 190 plus comments, and over 200 shares. And looking at his book over on Amazon, we can see that his book has launched on September 8th and has already 13 glowing 5-star reviews and received the #1 new release banner in Amazon's Children's Inspirational Books category. Now, while Keon does already have 3,500 followers, this video is currently the only video on his account that has that many views. So let's take a look and see what it was about this video that made this post so successful. Now make sure to watch Keon's video over on Instagram yourself as well. I went ahead and added the link to it in the description below. It's such a perfect example of what we can achieve with just a short little video, so make sure not to miss it. Now this right here is the script of Keon's video. The script is only around 250 or so words long, and the length of the video is just shy of 1.5 minutes. Yet Keon was able to share so much relevant information. So here are 11 things we'll want to note here when we're watching his video. 1. Within the video, Keon mentioned the title of his book multiple times. That is so important because hearing the title multiple times helps viewers remember it more easily. Yet it's still something we forget to do. So next time we share a video, we will want to make sure to mention the title of our book and ideally do so more than once. 2. Keon holds up his book where the title is clearly readable. Now, something I see over and over again is authors sharing their book cover flipped the wrong way, meaning we see the mirror image. So when sharing a picture or a video of our cover, we will want to make sure the title is facing the correct way. 3. Keon briefly shares a problem Kai, the main character in his book, is facing. This shouldn't take longer than a few short sentences. We're not trying to retell our story here, right? Instead, we simply want to point out the one main struggle our character may be facing. 4. Keon asks a few questions. This is such a fantastic way of piquing people's interest. Here, instead of sharing with us how Kai is solving the problem we just heard about, we are presented with a couple of intriguing questions that leave us wondering, how did Kai end up solving his problem? 5. Keon makes sure to mention where we can find his book. Oftentimes, we as authors think that searching for books over on Amazon is what would be the first and obvious thing that comes to everyone's mind, right? But I have seen over and over again that people ask where they can find the book if we don't specifically mention that. So it was wonderful to see that Keon was doing just that in his video. 6. Keon mentioned the age his book is meant for. Now, if you have watched my video on how to find the perfect age group for our children's book, you may know that I am a big advocate of being very specific when it comes to the best age range for our book, meaning I believe that it's best to have a narrow age range, the way I also described in my book, How to Self-Publish a Children's Book. And that's mainly because a book written for a 4-year-old, for example, usually won't be interesting to a 10-year-old. But looking at books like, Oh, The Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss, for example, we can often see that there are books out there that are written in such a way that they are so much fun for little ones to read, while at the same time being so very meaningful to adults as well. If that's the case, we definitely want to make sure to mention that as we are promoting and sharing our book. And that's exactly what Keon did in his video. But we also want to remember to keep the age range we are entering during our book's setup process as a more narrow age range, because in the end, this age range is meant to help Amazon categorize our book better. So my first ninja tip here is this. Amazon is trying really hard to keep children's books separate from other genres, and understandably so, right? So for example, what I have seen quite often is that when we choose a children's book category for our book, we cannot also place it in a category that isn't children's book related. And vice versa, if we place our children's book in a grown-up category, we usually can't also add it into a children's book specific category. If we do so, we often receive a notification from Amazon asking us to adjust our categories. It's often either or. So even with books like Oh, The Places You'll Go, or What to Do with an Idea by Kobe Yamada, or The Boy Who Would Be King by Ryan Holiday, even though they can be enjoyed by a much broader audience, well into adulthood even, we'll want to make sure to list it as a children's book, if that's how we want it to show up over on Amazon. 7. Keon briefly and gratefully mentions his illustrator in his video, which is such a wonderful gesture. It's always so powerful to remember the people who have contributed to our beautiful books, and that's exactly what Keon did here as well. 8. Keon added subtitles to his video. That way, even if our volume is turned off, we can still read along and know what the video is about. This is so easy to do nowadays, either directly within the different social media apps themselves or by simply using an external app. 9. Notice what we won't find in Keon's video. And other filler words or phrases like you know and like. That's something I noticed right away. It instantly makes any video so much easier to watch. Another thing we should notice right away is how effortlessly Keon flows or transitions from one point he is making to the next. That was so beautifully done as well. 10. Something I thought was so beautifully done in Keon's video was how he tied it all together in the end by weaving parts of his title into his parting words. Again, make sure to take a look at his video to see what I mean. And finally, 11, instead of just posting this video over on Instagram, Keon also added a caption below the video that shows 1, his excitement about his book, 2, it mentions and thanks his illustrator again, and this time also tagging the illustrator. And 3, he also mentions that the link to his book can be found in his bio, making it really easy for others who have just watched this video to find his book. The bonus here was seeing that Keon made sure that the link he shared in his bio was what I call a clean link. That's so important. So if you don't know what I mean by clean link, please make sure to watch my separate video on that. I went ahead and shared it in the description below. Again, I've added the link to Keon's video below as well, so you can watch it and check it out yourself. And please don't forget to give it a like when you are over there on Instagram to support a fellow children's author. Now, besides the content of his video, what else helped Keon with the launch of his beautiful book, Sunshine from Scratch? Let's take a look at 5 additional things Keon made sure he did. 1, I already mentioned the description Keon added below his video, and that's also where he thanked and tagged his illustrator. Now that's important because that's yet another opportunity to A, express our appreciation for this person, and B, hopefully also have the tagged person share our beautiful work as well. Because after all, they helped us create our beautiful children's book, right? So we want to provide others with an opportunity to partake in our launch. And they can only do so if they know that we launched our book. 2, something Keon did so well was that he didn't mass tag people in his comments. When launching a new book, it's so tempting to tag all sorts of people. Now, if these are our friends, then tagging them is absolutely okay. Mass tagging here refers more to tagging people or accounts that we didn't really interact with previously, those we aren't really connected to. And this is my second ninja tip here, and it's such a big one that I also shared it in my social media video series for children's book authors. If we do feel like we should be tagging someone that we don't really know, we should do so only if we have a reason to do so, and then include that reason in the comment that we are tagging that person or account in. Now, what do I mean? The way I learned about Keon's launch and his beautiful book was because he tagged me. Now, I don't know him, and I get tagged quite often, but if I don't know the person or I don't really know why I have been tagged, I usually remove the tag. And so do many others. But Keon showed me that he didn't just randomly tag me. Instead, he included the reason why he did so. And by giving people a reason, it's much more likely that those tagged people A, actually take notice, and B, perhaps even reshare. And why is that? Well, because that tag now isn't just about the author and their book, right? It is now also about the tagged person and how the tagged person perhaps helped the author. So in this instance, Keon made sure to mention my book and how it helped him create his. So now it's a win-win for both of us, right? It's no longer one-sided. When it comes to social media shares and getting someone else's attention, this truly is the best advice I can give. Instead of just trying to see how we can benefit from something, it always helps to find a way that helps the other party to benefit as well. 3. I mentioned earlier how Keon's post received over 190 comments. And digging through these comments, we can see that Keon responded to so many of them. So once we post a share over on social media, we will want to make sure we check back every once in a while and respond to people's comments. 4. Keon used relevant hashtags in his post. For this, we can 1. Either use the author-specific hashtag generator tool I helped create over on Kindlepreneur, and I will make sure to share the link to it in the description below. Or to get even more specific and more niche, we can 2. Also find posts of children's books that are similar to ours that are doing well over on Instagram or whatever social media platform we are using and see what hashtags they have been using. And 5, Keon made sure to approach a local news channel and then share that news clip on his own Instagram profile. Being covered in the news is always such a wonderful win, so we will want to make sure to share those far and wide. For some other ways on how we as authors can leverage and use any type of news coverage our children's book has received, make sure you watch my video I created on just that. Because knowing how to use those types of news is what helps us get things rolling or keep rolling. Being covered in the news is never the end, right? Instead, it's meant to be the beginning of things. So I made sure to share the link to that video in the description below as well. Keon did such an amazing job, so I thought it would be really helpful to look at some additional things we as authors can do to take things even further. 1. Keon already responded to so many of the comments he received. Here we will want to make sure to keep going back and respond to all comments that were left below our video. The effect of doing so is twofold. 1, by going back and responding, people that previously left a comment will feel seen and appreciated. And if they forgot to download their very own copy or purchase our book, they may just end up doing so. Life is busy, right? So we often forget what we meant to do. So getting a response may just be that little reminder people needed. Now note here that I don't mean to respond by asking them to download our book. Right? A grateful thank you so much for your comment or just thank you so much along with their name is more than enough as that little nudge. And 2, by adding comments to our post, it receives a tiny additional boost, which might help it show up in other people's feed as well, of those who may have missed it the first time around. 2, I love that Keon shared the local news coverage of his book as a clip on his Instagram. This one received so many views, likes, and comments as well. So here we will want to make sure to also go back and take the time to respond to every single one of these comments for the exact same reasons I just mentioned. 3, we really want to make sure to optimize our book sales page over on Amazon. Something we as children's authors definitely want to do is take advantage of KDP's A+ content, which allows us authors to add more images to our sales page, like this one right here. That's something many traditionally published books do as well, and so we should definitely take advantage of being able to show potential buyers what our book looks like on the inside. I have a whole separate video on how to do just that, how to create these images, and also how and where to upload them, along with lots of examples. And I have templates as well that help us make these images as fun and as easy as possible. And I made sure to share those links in the description below. And finally, 4, that's something I try to share often and far and wide, and that's all about the power of a book's subtitle. Subtitles are almost like a secret little weapon we can use to help our book be discovered and set itself apart from others. This is another big one, and so this is my third ninja tip in this video. I share all the benefits of utilizing a subtitle in my separate video on just that. Subtitles are used in so many other genres. Right now, it's still not very common among children's books, so please take advantage of this knowledge. And I made sure to share that link in the description below as well. Keon's social media post was done so well. It instantly caught my attention, and so did his adorable book, Sunshine from Scratch. I couldn't be more excited for him, and I hope you are too, and that you might even consider supporting another fellow children's author. So make sure to download a copy or purchase a paperback so we too can find out what our sunshine is made of. I hope you found this video really helpful when it comes to deciding how and what to share about our beautiful children's book. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. It really encourages me to keep making free videos for you just like this one. Here's to sharing our beautiful children's book far and wide. Bye!